Welcome, everyone. This is my regular Tuesday spot where Dinesh and I get together and talk about trekking in Nepal. And today we're going to talk about, and I'm just checking because I literally said before we started the recording, I couldn't remember the proper title, but it is about today overcoming fears and asking yourself the question, is trekking in Nepal right for me? But before we dive into that, my name is Michelle Hill, and I'm a coach and an AI consultant. And for me, I've got lots of memories popping up on my Facebook at the moment because it literally is 9 years ago when I first went to Nepal and had no idea what I was getting myself in for, and trekked to Everest Base Camp. So far on my Facebook memories, I think I'm up to about day 2. So it's lovely when they come back, and it reminds you not only of the good things that happen, but also some of the challenges and the times when I actually thought, seriously, have I really bitten off more than I can chew this time? But the feeling of exhilaration when I got to base camp, it's something that's very hard to describe because it's one of those, it just wells up in you. And I literally felt like if I could do that, I could do anything in the world. And so much so that I came back to Nepal 2 years later and trekked Annapurna circuit. And then last year, I actually trekked Larapinta Trail right out in the middle of Australia, out in the desert. Nowhere near as high as Nepal. I think the highest we got was about 1,350 meters, but just as challenging. So I'm going to pass over to Dinesh now. Dinesh is the owner of Nature Explore Trek and one of my very good friends. And he's just going to introduce himself and then we'll dive into today's topic.
Namaste, everyone. Good morning from Kathmandu. This is Dinesh, a mutual friend. And yeah, as Michelle already explained about that, those who doesn't know my name, I'm Dinesh Karki, and been working as a tourism sector as a guide, porter, like all my life, almost 22 years now. But before I accomplished as a Dinesh Karki mountain guide and owner of Nature Explore Trek, I've been spent quite a lot of time in this sector as a porter, like 6-7 years. And then with the experience of spend timing and then promote as a cooking filter also a little bit involving. And then after spend more than a decade, and then I finally became a guide who were able to take a group in the mountains all over the Nepal's, like most popular areas. Everyone knows that Mount Everest, Annapurna, Manasulu, like big mountains, Kanchenjunga, Makalu, blah, blah, all over the, including the remote areas. Spent like more than 12 years as a guiding in top level company in one of the heart company in Tamil, in Kathmandu. Then me and my colleague, we were working together as a guide in the same company. Then we decided and established our own company with different aiming to provide a lot of different service among the tourism market in Nepal, especially. And with our lot of experience, a lot of spending timing, we established Nature Explore Trek, like this company where Michelle and I met even. So since 2015, then from 2015 to today, it's almost 10 years now, we're running our company with 99% successfully. And then among this journey, we met so many wonderful people from all around the world, Australia, of course, America, Europe, like England, even Asians, like all over. So we are very happy and lucky that we got all our like 90% of success trip, including the big trips like East and West Nepal trip called GST, which I am used to telling every day because this is our quite good big success trip in our life. We did so 100 and 1,000 of small trips, but that one is quite special for us to taking a lot of risks and doing that big work with the team. And then our team is very special. Like not only our company, so many different companies organize such this trip, but they organize different ways, like breaking the trip and then just do the 2 week and then Next year, another 2 week, like just kind of part. But ourselves, we just do it by one, like one team, one go. That with slogan.
How long
Like,
did that take?
in timing it is 130 days,
Wow.
but which supposed to be 160 days, but our team done 1 month earlier than the usual time. And
Wow.
then it is about like 1800 kilometers in total. But we did completely without skipping any difficulty parts, like including 6,000-meter high passes, and then uncountable 5,000-meter high passes, a lot of up and downs, no matter like as it is Nepal, all is up, and crossing so many big and different glaciers, marine, terrain, as high mountains, like tossing the one from Kanchenjunga and then end to the West Nepal in Saipal Himal. This is like even everyone you can look in the map. So this is kind of different. Well, I mean like that was the big trip, but we also done so many other trips, including like Tibet, Bhutan, India, all over almost. And then we also specialized in organizing the big trips in Mount Kailas, which is located in the west of Tibet. And it is another biggest achievement for us. And we are very happy to provide already more than 1,000 athletes. The athletes called like who are more pilgrimized people from all over the world. And and then I'm very happy to share this little bit ourselves and my small company going on. We're almost middle of the way. And this journey, I've been good opportunity to see other countries like Europe a couple of times in 2014, 16, quite frequently. And then some Asian countries like Korea, Japan, of course, India as it's close. Bhutan, Tibet is my fluently as I'm going as a tour leader and taking the groups. Well, that's not short today, a little long, but that's Dinesh and then team we're working under our nature explore track.
Awesome. Well, Tibet's on my list, not next year, the year after. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, today, let's just switch it back now and talk about what are some of the fears that people might have and what might make them think that perhaps trekking in Nepal might not be for them. And I thought today we would spotlight Annapurna Base Camp Trek. And one of the reasons that I think this is a good one to talk about today is that for a lot of people who come to Nepal to go trekking, the biggest thing on their mind is altitude sickness and what is going to happen. And I know with the Annapurna Base Camp Trek, you don't go quite as high as Everest Base Camp Trek or Annapurna Circuit. So maybe if you could just talk us through, what that means to be at the different altitudes and also some of the symptoms that people might get and some of the ways that you look after your trekkers if something happens. That's a
Thank you.
long question, but off you go.
Thank you. I will try to cover your questions. Annapurna Base Camp Trekking, it is itself very popular. I don't have to tell a lot about that. We also talk already so many other events about this popular trekking trail. And well, if I'm say shortly about this trip, it is very short and sweet. Those who doesn't have a long time but still want to explore and wanted to reach to the highest mountain in Annapurna and make a record to the reach in higher elevation about 4,100 meter and crossing the so many glaciers, moraine and gorges, rivers, and typical suspension bridge of Nepal. Definitely, this trekking is worth it. And popular trekking season is like autumn and spring. Autumn starts September to all the way to December, and break in the winter as it is snowing, and then spring start after March to May, and this is the best time to do this trek. And it's very popular trekking. Normal durations of our itinerary is like 9 to 10 days, including the Funil viewpoint, which is very highlighted of that trip. This trip, as we see the most beautiful Himalayas from another part to the whole big range with sunrise and sunset. So in the meantime, we need to be good weather. And then let's say go to in the questions. So the altitude normally starts after 2,500 meter, but before 2,500 meter, you won't feel any altitude, because of we'll have enough oxygen as we're trekking in the beginning of lower part of the landscape, like lower
Right.
part of your beginning trek. So there will be a lot of big trees, greeneries that give you a lot of oxygen. Even you're like breathing, like you can quickly adopt it quickly back in the trail, and then you will not difficulties. But generally, the altitude start after 2,500 meters. In elevation, it will be like almost 7,000 feet. I'm just saying roughly.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then after start from there, and then if let's give the example, if anyone have received symptoms, how do we know if do I get altitude or not, right? So we'll have some symptoms. We'll receive some symptoms like dizzy, vomiting, not appetizing, and then like I would say, as my experience, different people got different symptoms. Not all the this is what I'm saying. This is normal symptoms,
Yeah.
but sometimes some people get different symptoms also. Some people get like diarrhea, of course, dizzy, and then as I'm saying, like cannot eat, not appetizing, and
Yeah.
lose the energy and the headache, and it's gonna like going.
Yeah.
It's
That's like
starting like
for me, it
yeah.
was mostly loss of appetite and headache.
Mm-hmm.
But it really didn't start um until I was probably up around 4,000 meters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mm.
and then no, what I'm saying, like in 2,250 meter, you will not receive. Some people can feel it, but
Okay.
generally, when you're above the tree level, like let's say 3,500 meter high in Nepal contains, if I'm saying, and
Yeah.
then normally you will feel it around 4,000 meter, because of will not have enough oxygen in our body, because of we will be over the tree lines. That means like more open the mountains, and then we are close to the big mountains, that will feel it if someone feels, but it's not everyone will receive it also. So if you have already good experience to being in high mountains, even in your home countries,
Yeah.
or you already have done some trekking in Nepal or anywhere in the world, you already like used to it, then you won't feel it. As I'm saying, like when you are mentally and physically both prepared world, normally you don't feel it.
Yeah.
As your body can react quickly, like you go against to stop this. But if
Yeah.
you're like not used to it, just first time going in a higher plate over 4,000 5,000 near, and then you're not prepared well, then after some time you can feel it. But when we have this kind of problem during your trekking in any Annapurna or anywhere, when you have a good team, like professional guide team, and your creeds will have a like alternative and solution options. That means we have also prevent for that, options. When you have like problems, there is always solution also. So that means if someone got like a altitude sickness in 4,500 meter or 5,000 or 3,500 meter, then the most and then really the big medicine of altitude is as much as possible. Recently, I mean, like quickly descending about 300-400 meters. It
Yeah.
depends where you are. So, and then, but not alone. That means that reason why you are with a team of guides and porters. So they will take you down to the nearest more lower altitude, and that means as you are reaching a higher place elevation, and then you go down, you will feel already better, because of your body will start to get more oxygen, then you will be
Mm.
better. If in case you are not getting better and go more worse and worse, then there's no options, will go more down. And even if you cannot move, or any situation is coming more like worse, and there is always option is the last part is evacuate. So that
Yeah.
means if you are in the remote area in the mountains, you will take a chopper like helicopter to save your life.
Yeah.
Not like willingness, it's kind of save your life. And then if you are in the close to the road or car road or anything, then you will have an ambulance to take you
Yeah.
down to the nearest hospital to your first part.
Can I
But
just ask a question? Have you had to do that very often, Dinesh?
not often, sometime, because
Yeah.
as I'm spending like a long time, so facing such a situation sometime, In this case, as I try to explain, so we just do the first prevent basic
Yes.
options.
Yeah.
Like take you down, giving some medicines like Dimox, and then taking rest, of course, drinking a lot of liquids. And if you are like smoke or alcohol, forget it when you have this problem. Even not only foreigners, any Nepalese or anywhere.
Yeah.
And then take you down. And if in case not getting better, not improve, and if your health condition going more worse, then after we will take to the nearest hospital.
Yeah.
So that's for you. I'm saying like a helicopter or transportation by car.
Yeah. Yeah. And then one of the other things, like you've talked a little bit about the support systems for the safety and things like that, but also, I think too, sometimes, the reason that people fear like signing up for a trek has a little bit to do with that fear of the unknown. And, like they don't know the country, or they don't know the people that they're going to go with and things like that. So one of the things I wanted to mention here, even though we are focused on Annapurna Circuit Trek, Annapurna Base Camp Trek today, I got it wrong first time. One of the things that Dinesh and his guides are really good at is, if you are in the least bit anxious or you have a lot of questions, we're always happy to do a Zoom call with you before you come or before you book, just so that you have the opportunity to actually talk to people who would be trekking and guiding with you. But also, it is about, when you come to Nepal, this is about you. This is your journey and your trip. And just because the normal itinerary says, 8 or 9 days or 9 or 10 days, if you wanted to take 12 days or 13 days because you want to go slowly, or, you like to take a lot of photos, you have a special interest in, I don't know, taking photos of the flora and then the flowers and the trees that are around. I mean, we can organize that for you as well. And we have a couple of trips coming up where people have decided, they want to trek by themselves because they don't want to be in that position of, they're in a group of people that they don't know particularly well, and they're conscious of the fact that they probably won't be very quick, and they don't always want to be the one holding the group back and being the last person. So we've organized a couple of individual itineraries where our client will trek with a guide and a porter, but also at their own pace, so that the whole experience becomes theirs. And I wanted to really point that out today, because sometimes we mention it, but it is actually very important, particularly if, coming to Everest Base Camp or trekking in Nepal is on your bucket list. We want you to have the best experience possible. So we can be infinitely flexible in terms of making sure that the way everything is organized is exactly what you want. And I think part of that will then help to reduce some of these fears, A, of the unknown, but B, also of, oh, what happens if I'm in a group and, they're all really super fit and they go really fast. And, I mean, for me, the first time when I turned up to trek Everest Base Camp, I was years old, not young. And I was with a couple from South Africa who I think at the time were in their early 30s, and three young guys from Melbourne who are super fit and super fast. So, we fell into a pattern of, they would go ahead with some of the porters, and, I would be behind with the guide, and the couple would be somewhere in between, sometimes with me, sometimes in the middle. So it is a matter of you know, not worrying about what other people, you know, what are other people doing? You don't have to keep up with them, because there's no way I could have kept up with them. You know, and I thought I was, you know, I was pretty fit. You know, I'd done a lot of long distance walking and, you know, a lot of you know, like squats and lunges and that sort of preparation. But, you know, there's no way that you can keep up with somebody who's 20 or 30 years your junior sometimes.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add that in from my experience, that, you know, you can let these things take over if you know you get inside your head too much. And you need, and the other reminder is that when you are doing something like this, you know, you don't want to be rushing because you're in one of the most beautiful countries in the world. And, you know, you don't want to be like walking along and forget to stop and just take in the beauty as well.
Yeah.
Now, what else can we talk about? We talked about altitude sickness, but what about just in terms of general safety? You know, like you guys check the weather, look at the routes. You know, you're making sure everything's going to be okay, like each day with the trekking. Is that right?
Yes. Normally, the general safety is very important, and then this will be happen when you are with your professional guide teams and the photo team. Yes, you know, like when you are doing such an adventure trip in Nepal, so you need a safety and security is most important.
Mm-hmm.
So as you mentioned, like the weather conditions, this is more useful in the higher section of the trekking when it's snowing and landsliding or like avalanches.
Yeah.
You know, in the between in Annapurna, when you're trekking in Annapurna, before we reach to the Annapurna base camp, there is some section of trek. There's some landsliding part, and especially
Okay.
avalanches,
Yeah.
because we cannot. Mountain is just above our head, and we just walk in the below. Sometime avalanches, but when you are looking all the checking normal precaution and then safety ways, then we will skip that kind of part. And then
Mm.
also the trail, you know, not all the trail are not in the like a flat area and gradual, you know, so we must have to climb the straights steeps and then walk in the corner of the mountains. So when you are with the team or guide, and then they will always give you the hand, not walking with you behind of you, right, not front. They will also give you the hand when needed, you
Yeah.
know. And then when you were crossing the small suspension bridges, sometimes there will be no proper breeze, and then you have to like hang in the breeze, like, oh, you know, that case, the guy can come you to give the hands. I mean, like helping and then
Yeah.
cross the side. Some
Yeah.
places, even in the beginning of the autumn season or sometime in the end of the spring season, the you know like we can also meet the like a river where there
Yeah.
is no breeze. You know, there is supposed to be breeze but floating, and then how you cross. In this case, also, you know, guide is very important, and then your safety and security is only provided from the team. You know,
Yeah.
as you walking by yourself and then team, there will be a lot of difference. So we're gonna like make your trip wonderful and successful with safety and security. So this is, and then safety and security is very important, as we already mentioned. So as you
Mm.
are planning your trip for your lifetime, once in lifetime, and you want to go back to home with a lot of memories and leave your footprint in the Himalayas and then go back to home with a lot of memories, that means safety and security.
Yeah.
So whenever you are any adventure lovers from all around the world, please go with the good hands who have been doing this job for a long time and make your trip wonderful and lifetime memorable. That's I want to tell.
Okay, thank you, Dinesh.
Yeah.
And one of the other things we did put on the event details was techniques for dealing with some anxiety and to help build your confidence. From my experience, when I remember when I was doing the Annapurna Circuit Trek, and I actually, when I got to Kathmandu, I was feeling a little bit anxious because I didn't feel like I'd done enough physical preparation. And I think we got to about day 2 or day 3, and I was in the room of self-doubt in my head going, oh, I shouldn't have done this. Oh, I didn't do enough. Oh, what's going to happen? And oh, the other guys will get really cross with me and all of that. But a couple of things, I kept putting one foot in front of the other. And when we stopped for lunch, I made sure that I did like a good stretching regime, but I also talked to the other people in my group and said, hey, I'm feeling a little bit like I haven't done enough and I'm going to be a bit of a burden and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? Once you share your feelings like that, it's surprising what you find out that other people are thinking as well. But also, people are very forgiving, and they also, we're recording at the moment, Tim. I think he was popping in to say hello. That's all right.
Yeah.
I just lost my train of thought then. But also, one of the other things is, as a coach, what I always say to people is that the best thing when you're feeling anxious, the best thing you can actually do is literally is stop and breathe deeply and slowly, because not only does this help oxygenate your blood, it actually, like, the body itself just stops. And one of my favorite breathing techniques is a box breathing technique where you breathe in for the count of 4. So it's in, 2, 3, 4. Then you hold for the count of 4, breathe out for the count of 4, and then hold for the count of 4 again. And if you do that, 5, 6, 10 times, you'd be surprised at how quickly your anxiety level drops. And again, this is for a couple of reasons, because when you're focused on the counting, your brain starts to focus less on what you are anxious about. But the breathing, again, it helps to oxygenate and energize you as well. So they're just a couple of tips and tricks that I thought I would share with you today. Some of them I didn't necessarily learn in Nepal, but I know I've used them at various times during treks when I've literally thought, oh my God, I need to stop and take a photo for the 10th time today. Because that was always my little thing of, if I was starting to feel like I was getting out of breath or I couldn't keep up, I would say, oh, wow, this looks like a great place to stop and take a photo. Is it okay if I stop and for a couple of minutes and take a photo? So, you can do all sorts of things like that. And at the end of the day, everyone is there to have the best trek that they possibly can.
Mhm.
And, people are generous and kind, and they, anytime you feel a little bit anxious or if you're unsure, my recommendation would be open, be a little bit vulnerable and share what you're thinking, and make that, maybe you could make that something that you as a group do at the end of every day or at the beginning of each day, where it's like, if you did the end of the day, you could, what was the hardest thing about today? What was the thing I enjoyed the most?
Mhm.
And, by sharing that as a group, then you get to see it from other people's perspective as well. So I hope that helps. Now, was there any other areas of this topic that you wanted to add some more to, Dinesh?
Not. I think we try to cover the most of things in this
Pretty
topic.
much covered everything.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
if anyone wants to know more about this trip or any questions, they can welcome to ask us.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
I want to tell.
Get
Yeah.
in touch. It's natureexploretrek.com/contact. So if you reach out to us that way, that will get to Dinesh. As I said, feel free to get in touch and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, but I'm concerned, these are my concerns. You know, we can either have an email conversation, or if you would prefer, you know, we can jump on a Zoom. And that I often think that, you know, 15 or 20 minutes just spent face to face, well, when I say face to face, like where we can see each other on the screen, that can do a lot to answer questions and to allay anxieties and fears that you might have. And so on that note, I will say that that's probably a wrap for today. Next week, what we're going to talk about is choosing the right trek for you, and what are the common pitfalls and things to think about. And the trek that we're going to highlight is the Langtang Valley Trek.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. So until next week, you have a good week, and we will be back again next Tuesday afternoon to talk about trekking in Nepal.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
And yeah, see you next week. Have a good weekend.